Hey guys, welcome to another Hunter video. I am a Night Elf Hunter on the Whisperwind server, and right now I am at 25-man Razorscale. This is an encounter in the Ulduar instance, and this is a guide for a Beastmaster Hunter on how to fight Razorscale. There are many other video guides that are great for the encounter as a whole. A good one is Tank Spot from Ciderhelm, and I'll have a link to that video to the sidebar. So, if you just look right now, there are tunnelers that are popping out of the ground, and there are 3 different types of ads that are coming out of this these tunnelers. There is the Sentinel, which is what I'm shooting at right now. There is the Watcher, and the Guardian. The Guardian really doesn't do anything, it's just a melee ad, doesn't really hurt you that much, and the Watchers are really dangerous enemies that shoot chain lightning, which could wipe a group. And there are also Sentinels, which will come not all the time, but sometimes, and they will do whirlwinds that will destroy any melee DPS that are in or around them. So what we did as a raid is we set up everyone in 2 groups, melee DPS and tanks together, ranged DPS and healers together, so that we could still DPS everything, and if a Sentinel pops up, then the melee DPS stay on the group that we gathered together of the Watchers and the Guardians, and all the ranged DPS start targeting and getting down the Sentinel. Now the reason we get them into 2 groups is that the Watchers use chain lightning, and the chain lightnings will bounce around to people, and they do more damage the more it bounces around. And if we're all in one big group, if they start targeting one of the melee or the tanks, it might bounce around to a healer, in the end killing them. So as you can see, Razorscale is down to the ground, and how you get them down to the ground is you shoot the harpoons that are in the front of this encounter. The harpoons are starting off unusable, and they will start getting repaired by the NPCs one by one. And usually someone ranged, most likely a hunter, will have to go there and start shooting off the harpoons. Now you shouldn't start running back to the harpoons until at least 3 have been popped up or repaired. This way, when you get to there and shoot the 3rd one, you can wait on the 4th one to be repaired. What we did as a guild is waited until the Sentinels, the last Sentinel was down, and then we started shooting the 4th harpoon, getting Razorscale down, and then we tried to DPS him down. Now your goal is to get Razorscale down to 75% in his first ground phase, and the second time you want to get him down to 50%. The reason for this is because he has a 10-minute enrage timer, and it takes about 2 minutes and 20 seconds or so for all the harpoons to be repaired. So you want to try to get him down in 2 ground phases, and then he will stay in a permanent ground phase. And what we did was we had the tanks run around in a circle around the instance, around all the DPS and healers, where we would just start DPSing him down. Now for our encounter, we weren't able to get him down in 2 rounds of the harpoon shots, so we had to go through a 3rd round, and you'll see later that it was a very, very close call. We were from about 10 seconds from him going in rage, and we were able to down him, so we kind of got lucky there. So for this instance, you really need a set of good DPS, or else you're never going to down him before his range timer. For this encounter, what we did as a guild, which I found was very helpful for me, was that we had a person designated for group assist. And what that means is everyone makes a macro to target this person and also to assist this person. So we are targeting and attacking everyone this person is attacking. And this person, what we had was a melee DPS, in this case a rogue, and everyone in the raid was fighting the same mob that the rogue was fighting. This was helpful especially for a hunter, because they are targeting the Watchers, and if a sentinel pops up, what I do is use a macro, send my pet onto that watcher, and then I would change my target into the sentinel. Because if I send my pet with a sentinel as well, he will whirlwind and just demolish my pet. And I want to keep him alive as much as possible to increase my DPS. Now, another thing you have to realize, as well as not just you, but everyone else in the raid, is that when you get fireballs hit onto you from Razorscale, you have to try to move your position, because he does attack whoever is closest to him, and if you are staying in the same spot, there could be a chance that he could hit you 2, maybe 3 times with a fireball, and each 10k, I don't think the healers could actually get you past that really quickly. Another thing is, Razorscale creates these fires on the ground, which will burn for pretty heavy damage. And what the tanks need to do is move the adds away if they're on it, and also the same for DPS. If you see fire on the ground, don't stand in it. However, if the tanks have to move, the DPS and the healers will have to move with the tanks, because they really don't have anywhere else to stay, and you all have to follow and switch your position based on how the field is set. Now, in terms of pet management in this encounter, it's very important. You have to pay a lot of attention to where your pet is, because there are some times when right after Razorscale lands and flies off again, your pet is still targeting it and it is running after Razorscale even though it can't hit it. Now, this is fine most of the time, except other than the fact that you're missing out on heavy DPS as a Beastmaster Hunter. Sometimes the pet is also in the balls or big ground fire that are on the ground, and pretty soon, after about 4 or 5 seconds, your pet is gonna die from that AoE damage. So you want to try to retract your pet with setting it on passive, getting it back to you, and then setting it back on defensive, or sending it back off again when you have someone targeted. So this is going to be very important, because all the pets need to stay alive for the extra DPS in order to kill this boss before the enrage timer. So there you go, we just downed Razorscale, and this is a pretty hard encounter, because as a guild we've been trying to get this down for quite a few tries now, and what I think is the hardest part of this instance is definitely phase 1, or the adds phase. Once you get through that, the second phase is easy, as long as the tanks do their job and all the DPS are good. So now let's take a look at the loot. So what we got was a defensive gun, a sigil for a Death Knight, as well as a helmet, which is, I've been told, a best in slot for a lot of casters. And as a side note, the gun would have been great for my hunter tank set, however, there was a warrior that needed it just a bit more than me, so I had to give that up to him, so congrats to him. And that's it for my Razorscale guide. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks to everybody who's been subscribing to me. And take care, till next time.